What's up, Dunces family? We are back with another episode of the Dunces Podcast. Yes, it has been over a month, but there's a reason for that. Well, not anywhere that we can actually say it's anybody's fault. I would say it's my computer's fault. So let's just blame me. But we are back here, Isandro, talking basketball. It's been a quarter of the season already, and it's only December. Well, early December. Wow, Christmas is actually pretty close.
Two,
Christmas
three
Day.
weeks away.
Yeah, it's crazy. We should go to the
Yes.
next game. No. But there's a lot to talk about around the NBA. Um, teams are getting a lot better. The teams that were once good, that we thought were going to be bad, are actually bad again. So shout out the Jazz. But Mike Conley's been out, so it's not their fault. But there's also other stuff going on, man. Like Pacers are looking like really, really legit threats. Not threats to win it, but threats to make the playoffs, which is a good thing. No one expected that to happen. Miles Turner is having a resurgence of a career. I don't know why he's playing so well.
Barry
But he,
Haliburton.
and then the other teams, the Lakers have, they started off really slow. They've been playing really well ever since. AD has been putting up monstrous numbers. The Nets also have been playing really well as of late. They did lose yesterday to Boston, but I mean, you were gonna lose to Boston because Boston is just that team. They're probably the favorites right now to win it all. If not, it's the Bucks, but the Bucks have also been kind of stagnant as of recent. So what do you think, Isandra? Where do you want to start with all of this? What's the team that you
Gotta
have
talk
going?
about the Lakers, baby.
Let's do the
AD,
Lakers then.
MVP AD.
Well, that's overrated. But what do you think? What do you think about the Lakers?
Well, I still think they need to make a trade. But then again, like, the fact that they're doing good now is kind of promising. Because now it's like, okay, maybe they can go for that top five, top six seed, maybe even try to avoid the play-in tournament. We'll see what happens if they decide to keep Russ. At this point, I feel like I've been harping on it too much. We kind of just have to wait and see what they decide to do. It is encouraging to see them play the way that they're playing, just playing well. LeBron is not showing his age as much, and AD is looking like what we expected him to look like.
What
You
we
know,
wanted him to look like.
yeah,
We
kind of
want-
like how we expected him to look like this after an injury, but it just felt like after every injury, he just tried to get his feet under him, and then he just kept getting injured. And he's always been injury prone, but it's just like he can never really get that consistency and to really get that run in. And now it just feels like he's got it. It's just everybody who's talking about it is just kind of cautious because it's like, oh yeah, AD. It's like, when is he gonna get injured? It's like that's looming. Like, he's playing so well, but it's like he's probably gonna get injured soon. Let's hope not.
Or not
Let's hope
even
not. We
that.
never pray on it. Yeah.
Or not even just that. He just might just get trash again because he's trash. No, I'm
I
kidding.
don't think so. I think it's gonna be an injury.
I
Like,
don't
maybe
know.
he'll slow down a bit because right now it's just too crazy. But he's still gonna be decent. I just feel
No,
like
I don't think he's gonna slow
injury.
down. I
I
think
don't.
he's
Yeah.
proven. I think he's going to have this type of year this year. Like he's gonna average like 28 points a game, and he's gonna average like 15 boards. But the team is still not gonna be good. Like the team is not gonna be championship level team, and that's okay
No,
because we
they
knew
don't need
that
to.
coming in. We saw what this team is constructed as. A trade that involves Russell Westbrook should be made. Russ actually is playing really well off the bench, so another team could use him. But I don't see him getting paid anywhere near $20 million this coming off season. But that's why we don't worry about the off season because it's not right now. As of right now, the
Mm.
Lakers, they're playing really well. Russ is coming off the bench. AD is playing really great. LeBron is doing what he can. But I think I ask this question every time we talk about the Lakers, so I really don't want to ask it. But should they even be gunning for like try? Well, obviously they should be trying to make the playoffs, but isn't there inevitable goal to win the championship with LeBron aging this way? Like, shouldn't they want to win a championship? Shouldn't they want to trade these
Yeah,
guys?
they'll have one more chance.
I don't know. I know you're
I
crazy.
think they'll have not this season, but I
Definitely
think
not
next
next season
season.
either.
Why not?
LeBron's getting older, and they have no flexibility when it comes to trades because they're paying him like almost what 50, $60 million,
So Russ comes off the books, right?
right?
They'll be able to get Kyrie. Let's say that doesn't happen. You said Miles Turner, his contract
Free
expires.
agent.
They might be even able to pick him up. Maybe they can maneuver another trade to get a nice 3-and-D wing. And although it's not going to be like, oh my God, they're like favorites to win the title, that'll be their best chance to win a
But you're
title.
paying two guys that are taking up a bulk of your salary in LeBron and AD. And then after that, where's your cap space? You have to fill in the roster. You can't be at that. That's been their lack of consistency these last few seasons, or the last 2 seasons, really three, I would say, is because they've been paying players like Russell Westbrook $47 million, your highest paid player as of right now, and you weren't able to build the rest of that roster. You could have used that 47 million to trade for three people making, one guy making 18, another guy making 20, and then one guy making like 8. I don't know, something stupid like that. I didn't do the math right, but you know what I mean. Like it's not smart to invest all your money in one player, especially a player like Kyrie. That would be a horrible,
He's
horrible.
not gonna be paid as much. I mean, maybe he's gonna try to secure a bag, but I think he wants to win. After everything that's happened with Kyrie, in recent memory, even just in general, I think he's gonna take a little bit of a pay cut. Maybe he'll make 20, 25, maybe 30, and they'll go into the luxury, and then they'll be able to maneuver something. I think that, like, don't count them out yet. Like, again, I'm not saying they're genuine, legitimate contenders next season, but like, don't sleep on them. Like, if they're gonna try to make something happen, and they're gonna go for one last dance
Snoring,
per se.
snoring
And what
on
would probably be LeBron's last season. And if that's not LeBron's last season, it'll probably be the following season, which I think might be the year
Bronny,
Bronny.
maybe.
Yeah.
I
So
think so.
that might be his last season.
Well, I'm
If not,
sleeping
if not
on
next
them.
season.
Absolutely, I am because I don't believe in this team. I don't believe in Pelinka. Or maybe I do. I don't know. Lakers are all over the place, just like my head. But let's keep going to another team that we wanted to discuss. The Indiana Pacers. Why did we want to discuss Indiana? Well, there's a reason why. Tyrese Halliburton is 1000% All Star. Definitely top three in most improved. Probably the front runner, if you ask me, because Tyrese Halburton is that dude. And like we mentioned, Miles Turner's been great. Buddy Hield's been great. But it's really those other guys. Isaiah Jackson has looked solid. O'Shea Brissett. Um, who else is on the team? Nemhard looks pretty good. Naismith. Bunch of these guys look really well, or playing really well. What do you think about Indiana, man? Do you think that they're a legit team to make the playoffs this coming season? Well, this coming
I think
postseason.
they're threatening to make the play-in, to be honest, if they keep this up.
Playing. They're in the playoffs as of
Mm,
now. I mean, technically.
but isn't that because other teams are underperforming and injured?
Who's underperforming right now to you on the in the East?
Well, Miami's had some injuries, and they're not really playing to the best of their capabilities. Like Jimmy
Okay.
Butler just came back, right?
Right.
Um, 76ers obviously are completely injured. They're not playing terribly, but we know that they're going to
They're
do a lot
solid.
better once James Harden and Tyrese Maxey comes back. So it's already
So
two
okay,
spots.
so as of right now, who's in the top six? Do you have it on there? Do you
I
have?
can go to it right now. It'll take
Yeah,
like 2 seconds.
do
I can
it.
go to standings, and in the standings we have Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta. The 76ers are in fifth.
Atlanta's gonna go down.
Miami's in ninth place, and
A-
Brooklyn is in eighth place.
Atlanta's gonna go down.
Also, Toronto's been injured too. Like it
Toronto is
felt
not.
like
They're not a good
it
team. They're not
was
a
it
good
was
team.
Van Vliet injured, and then it was Siakam injured, and now
Yeah,
everybody's
but
coming
they're not
back.
a good team. They're not. They should trade.
I think they're a better team than Indiana, to be honest.
Oh, they have a better. They have a better
They have
core.
a
Well,
better,
not a core.
I
Better,
mean,
bigger names. They have bigger names, right?
OG, Scotty, like they
But
have. Oh, also
nah,
Chicago has been underperforming like
they
crazy. I don't know
no
if this is permanent though.
that team we're gonna talk about in a second. But yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I could put Indiana as a play-in. But is that like a solid season for them, or should they have really tried to?
No, because they're not good. They're not bad enough to tank for Wemby. I think we talked about this before, where it's like we're counting out teams that like they're not bad. It's just where there's other teams that should make it in over them. Indiana's one of those teams where they have good depth, quality, and we all knew that Tyrese was going to be that guy. I don't know if we all expected him to be this good, kind of like a shy situation, Shea, whatever, however you want to pronounce it.
Well,
But we knew he was going to be
I
like
was
really good.
calling them
That's why
both.
there was that's why there was such a clamor when they traded him away. And I was probably a hot take at the time saying like, yo, Tyrese is probably going to be better than De'Aaron. Like De'Aaron's he's good too, and as we see, Sacramento's doing good, but Tyrese is that guy. So
Yeah.
Indiana really has the tools to fight. They're closer to a play-in than they are to tanking for Wemba.
I totally forgot too. Benedict Mathurin. How did I forget about him?
Ben
He's
Mathurin,
balling.
yeah, we were going to talk about him.
He's
Yeah.
nice.
Remember we were watching the Pacers game yesterday?
Yeah, he was nice.
Ben Mathurin, he's not playing like a rookie. If it wasn't for Paolo, like he probably would be like a front runner.
I mean, Ben, he did win Rookie of the Month, so if that means anything. I don't think that means anything.
I don't
Even
know.
though Paolo
I don't
literally
know.
had better numbers than Ben, but whatever.
I think it might be voter fatigue or something. I don't know. Maybe he was
Yeah.
injured.
I will
But
say
yeah, I mean, if you look at, oh,
Indiana's
you go first.
promising. Indiana, like, it's really promising because even if they do lose Miles Turner, even if they do trade Buddy Hield, your guys really are just that, Tyrese and Ben. Building around those guys, signing, players, complementary pieces. Who knows? Maybe Miles Turner decides to stay. He thinks that this team could actually grow into something great with him there because he's what, 27, 28. He
Hmm.
has like at least like a good 2, 3 more years that he can help this team rebuild, or he can just leave, and it doesn't matter because they're set with the guys that they have in
Hmm.
Tyrese and Ben. So I'm excited to see what they have.
Yeah, Tyrese is honestly so good to the point where it's like, if he makes another jump next year and they make like another quality signing for like a third or fourth option,
Yeah,
they're like top four, top three East. Like it could be like a Cleveland situation where it's like they make the Donovan Mitchell acquisition. It's like, whoa, like what's going on right now? They could be that
right.
team if Tyrese makes another jump next year,
And that would
in
be,
my opinion.
and
That would
I
be
don't
great.
see,
I would
I
love
don't
to
see
see
why.
that.
I don't see why not. He's that good. Did you see the stat the other day? It was like
No.
he had 40 assists and 0 turnovers in like 3 games. Like that's insane. In the span of 3 games, 40 assists and zero
Also,
turnovers.
also his usage is like really not that high, which is the turnovers and the usage just blows my mind.
What's insane too with his turnover, like the fact that he doesn't get turnovers, bro, they're not chest passes, they're not easy passes. He does like the craziest, like, no look passes to random guys in the corners, like no one even notices. He fakes out the cameraman. Like he is playing he's playing his game. Basketball is his game, it's his sport. Like he's doing really, like, Tyrese to me, if he's
Freaking
not an
love
all-star this
Tyrese, man.
season, the NBA sucks. And shout out Tyrese, shout out
There's
JJ
no way
Redick.
he's not gonna be an all-star in the East. Come on,
He
that's
deserves it. He
come on.
deserves it. He deserves it over Kyrie. But anyway,
Oh,
let's
would
move on.
Kyrie get in just by his name?
No. Well, maybe with that whole, I don't know. But let's move on to another team. Well, other teams or other players. We can really just go on with so much that's been going on. Let's see. There's Boston. Let's talk about Boston real quick. We talked about it yesterday when you came over. We were watching Jeremy Grant play for the Blazers. Blazers also very inconsistent. I didn't realize that they had lost 8 of their last 9 up until that game that they beat when Anthony Simons went off against Denver, I think it was.
Oh,
That's crazy that they've lost that many games, but Dame has been out, so whatever. But let's talk about these guys in Boston. We thought that they should have made a trade for Jeremy Grant. It would have been great. They would have been perfect. But instead, they trade for Malcolm Brogdon, and he's been solid for them. They just beat the Nets yesterday. I mean, the Nets played a horrible game, obviously, but you could see that it also was the Celtics just being that good defensively. You said it yourself. Oh, no team in the NBA knows how to guard Kevin Durant the way Boston does. Like their defense on KD is just, it's always beautiful to watch, and it makes me sad because I hate Boston. But it, as a basketball fan, it's
for
really cool.
somebody who hates Boston, you're always like really singing
They have
praises for
players I
them. I
like.
noticed.
They have players I like. And
Also for your MVP of the year, like, and you say you hate Boston, but who's your MVP? Like,
it's Luca. No, I'll say, look, it has to be Tatum, right? I mean, who else can you say? Devin Booker, because his team is the top of the West, but
Giannis.
Giannis, maybe. Jokic is having even better. Again, another better season than
Giannis
he
is
did last year,
having
and he's still.
Giannis is having a better season, but Boston has a better record. So it's like, how do you quantify this? Like that's like if it's both teams having a great record, how do you split hairs?
It's
You
really just
know?
numbers at that point. Who has more
But
points?
Giannis has better numbers.
Maybe
It's
that
just
in that
because
case.
Tatum is like it's like
In that
Tatum
case,
came
it's
out of
it's
nowhere,
voter
right?
fatigue.
Even though like everybody's been kind of I got kicked out. Everybody's been kind of like nobody really expected Tatum to like be like this kind of guy, like 31, 7-4 on not terrible efficiency with great defense,
Yeah,
leading the best team in the league, right?
but I don't know. I feel like it has to be. I mean, unless Curry's team gets better. I mean, because Curry's having
What's their
a great
record?
season as well.
Their record is 13-11. There's hope for Curry. There's hope for
Well,
Curry.
in that case, there's hope for KD too, because KD too has been balling like crazy this season.
Yeah, but that's because of injuries. So he's gonna, when Ben Simmons comes back, Kyrie comes. I mean, Kyrie's back already.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna come back down to earth, or he continues to ball out.
Well,
In
he
which case,
he
I'll
he's
be,
always been doing it.
More
So,
power to
I don't
you.
know. Look, I think it's
Well,
up
the
to
thing is,
three
with those
people.
other guys on the team, like he's gonna get the points, but it's just like because the other guys were injured, he's like he would get the rebounds, he would facilitate,
Yeah,
he was scoring the points. Like I don't know, KD was able to do that.
I
He's
think
never really shown me he could do all that.
I think it's only three people right now in the real MVP voting, and we mentioned it in the last video that we did that unfortunately got corrupted. But the three guys I think that are locks for the top three are Tatum, Luca, and Steph. I don't think it's Giannis. I think Giannis does not have he has too many in him. He has too many MVPs. They don't want to give it to him, and it's not gonna be
That's
Jokic
not fair, bro. That's so
because
not fair
but
because
it's
he
it's
hasn't
it's
won the MVP in 2 years and
it's
he's
the
the best player in
NBA.
the
Like
league.
that's how it works.
Bro is averaging 32, 11, and 5.
I know. Look, if it were up
This
to
is
me, I would give it to him.
crazy.
He'd be at the top of my list. Him and Tatum would be fighting for that spot. But you know how the NBA is.
Oh,
Steph Curry
I am
hasn't won it.
sick.
When's the last time Steph Curry's won it?
But
16?
that's different. 2 years ago, Steph had an MVP caliber season, but his team wasn't good enough. Last year, he was like, people are like, oh, Steph's going to be the MVP. Then his team started doing buns. And then, it's like, okay. No, he started doing buns. His team was good, right? So he couldn't get MVP.
What
This
do you
year, he's
mean?
having another MVP caliber season, but his team is not good enough. Giannis hasn't been able to win it because for the past 2 years, Jokic has been that
Hold on.
guy. But now Jokic
Well,
is out of
Embiid.
the running because they're not going to give him a third straight MVP. So
Right.
now it's I feel like it's Giannis's time. Like he's been the best player in the league for how long now? Like 2 years,
I think he has to wait
and you're
another
not gonna
year.
give him an MVP?
I think he has to wait
That's
another
not
year.
fair. That's not fair,
That's
bro.
the
I'm gonna be
NBA. I
so
don't, I
mad.
don't know what you want me to say.
If he slows down and somebody else wins, I'm not gonna be mad. But if he keeps this up and like they have like a top two record in the league, you got to give him to Giannis, bro. I'm sorry. Like give him. He is the type of player
You
that
know
he
what it'll be
deserves
like?
three MVPs.
You
Kind
know
of
what
like
it'll be
how
like?
Kobe only won one, but he deserved at least two or three. Like it's just not
No,
fair.
Kobe deserved at least like 12. But no, in
Okay,
Giannis's case, it's like a LeBron factor. When Derrick Rose won it, he shouldn't have won it. Like, let's be real, he shouldn't have won it. But it was
I can
Bron.
debate you on that, but I mean for argument's sake, you're right. Like
Debate
it's
me
a
on that. What do
LeBron
you
thing.
mean? There's no debate. It was LeBron's.
Okay, but it was like he won it because they didn't want to give it to LeBron again, right?
That's my point. That's my point with Giannis. Like LeBron won two, I think. I think yeah, it was two. Then didn't win it that year with Derrick Rose, and then won another two, right? So it was two, one, no, and then two. Like, why can't Giannis be that? Giannis could definitely have that, but I just don't
But
see it
remember, it's
happening.
been 2 years since Giannis has won it, so
I
this could be his
understand, I
year.
understand, but Jokic did it 2 years in a row, right? But Giannis was
Hmm.
already top three in both of those seasons that Jokic won it. So Giannis's name has always been in the running, just like LeBron's has. Except this year, you have players like Luca, where if you take him off that team, they are atrocious. If you take off Steph, they are atrocious. Like I feel like you have to put those two ahead of him only
Nah,
because
bro.
of how the NBA works. If it were up to us, if we were the voters, Giannis would probably be my favorite along with Jayson Tatum. It's those two guys that really should only be the two that are mentioned against, going up against each other. But I just don't see it happening. However, Tatum
Well, I disagree. We'll see. Right now,
will
it's still
probably
early
win.
into the season. Players could drop off. Players could heat up. It's really
And
up to like
Tatum is still
we can
inconsistent. Let's be
say
real.
he's very inconsistent. That's why his efficiency is nowhere near as good as Giannis's. Well, Giannis's 3-point shot. I mean, we're not talking about that. But anyways, he's very inconsistent. But he's got the stats, got the record, and he's really good defensively. Which I mean,
Very good.
it's really it does help you out. It does help out your MVP case, unless your name is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing like Kawhi Leonard did a few years back, so it's really nice to see him play the way that he is. Speaking of Kawhi, let's talk about the Clippers. The Clippers, I think having them as championship contenders, I think they're done. I don't
That
see
was
it
with
happening.
a healthy Kawhi. I did not know that Kawhi was not gonna come back the same.
Kawhi, he just doesn't look like he wants to play basketball, bro. Like he does not.
But he never does. But then he hoops, and it's like, oh my God, Kawhi is that guy. Like
I
it's
don't
just
think
it's
so
sad to
anymore,
see
man.
because like
I think it's too many
his
injuries.
injuries. It's just the injuries. Yeah, it's the injuries. And now Paul George was injured. And you think he might still be injured? I don't know.
Well, they just had a game where they lost by like 22 points, but they had like their whole roster out, like
Well,
all
that was because they were all coming back from injury. But I feel like
No,
we
Kawhi was
have to
out,
give
Paul
him.
George was
We got
out,
to give
Moon
him
was
some
out.
time. We got to give him some time, like for those guys to
How
come
much
back,
time
get their
though? Like
feet.
honestly, like what do you?
I don't know. Like the only thing we can do is like hope that they become healthy, and then once they're healthy, then we have to wait to see how they start to look.
No, John Wall should have gone to the Nets as a backup. Honestly, like this is not. He's
John Wall on the Nets would have been great. Well,
imagine
no, Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons has been injured, so we're splitting hairs.
John Wall off the bench with Claxton.
Mm.
I don't know. Or John Wall could have gone. I don't know. Maybe Boston if they didn't
Claxton.
trade for Brogdon. I don't know. They could have done something, but looking like an L for him. But if it's a Zubac is playing really well, should have had 30 and 30. I'll be honest, but we move. There are
That would
other
have been
stuff
nice. That would have
going
been
on.
nice.
Yeah, we would have had that game more memorable. Like it would have been more memorable if we would have dropped 30 and 30. But whatever. Uh,
30 for 30.
let's keep moving on to other things around the league. You mentioned a little bit of we talked about MVP. We talked about a little bit about Rookie of the Year. But let's get more into like depth on these rookies. Like, who has been your favorite so far? Like, you haven't
Besides
seen all
Paolo.
of them, but yeah. Besides Paolo, who has it been? Because Jabari Smith is looking like a bust. Being for real.
Well, he's
Obviously,
been doing decent recently, but he started off so horrible, which is so shocking because what was he like? You said you were wrong. Like he was projected to go top, like number one,
yeah,
right?
number one.
And then everybody's
Based
like,
off of
well,
everything.
Paolo got taken first, and it's like now we see like okay, Orlando they know when it comes to drafting, like they took Franz, Dwight a cut like several years ago. Like Orlando has been pretty decent when it comes to drafting.
No,
So
they have not.
they had drafted Victor Oladipo, but they traded him away. So they
No,
they have been decent when it comes to drafting players. It's
no,
just
no. I
we
just
haven't really seen the fruition of that, you know.
I
But
just
anyways, that's another that's I'm digressing. Um, Paolo's been great. Jaden Ivey, obviously Ben Mathurin, we're gonna talk about it in a bit, but Jaden Ivey has been pretty solid, pretty solid. Nothing too crazy. I feel like he's inconsistent, but I mean it's a rookie. Like I mean, what can we expect? But
bro.
what do you think of Ben? What do you think of Big Ben?
Benedict Mathurin.
Ben Math.
He is 1000% my favorite player in this draft. Like he has become that my favorite player. Like he's just such a baller. Like I'm telling you, Indiana, they have two guys that just purely hoop, which I love to see. Like they play with energy, they play with thrill. They're fun, they're happy. Like they look like a good team that I would just like anybody would want on their team, right? In both Tyrese and Ben. Ben specifically though, I feel like there's no really like bad thing to his game. Like his offensive game is great. Maybe defensively he can work on it a little bit, but overall I don't see anything too wrong with it. As Isandro freezes on my screen, but yeah, I don't see anything like I don't see any flaws in his game, and that's scary because he's just a rookie. Um, do I think that he's going to be the best player in this draft? Probably not. Will he be the best like will he be on a better team in a few years from now? Maybe because I feel like Indiana will always have a better team than Orlando. Orlando was never really that good at building up, their players.
What
But
do you think of what do you think of second year players actually? I was gonna say second year players because we're talking about rookies, right? I'm just
yeah,
thinking about like people who were rookies
well,
last year, like Evan
Suggs,
Mobley.
Suggs has been playing really well.
Did, are we surprised at that or like what's
No,
our opinion on Suggs?
I think Suggs. You got to remember, guards, point guards specifically, it's really tough when they get into the NBA. We saw Chauncey Billups as a prime example. He was horrible his first couple of seasons. Toronto, Boston,
And teams were giving up on him.
Minnesota. But then once he got to Detroit, he was handed over the keys and they built a solid team around him and then they saw that he's actually a really good player and then he helped Denver and all that. Whatever. It's a whole thing with Chauncey, right? But Jalen Suggs is one of those players that he probably just needed that. He needed his time to get his feet wet. And it's tough when you're playing up against other guards. You're playing up against Markel Fultz. You're playing up against Cole Anthony, like RJ Hampton even. Like you have four solid point guards on one team. What can you really do? It's kind of tough to like put your name out, like stamp your name to be that starter, to be that, the best guard out of all of them. But Suggs looks like he's that guy. Cole Anthony is going to look like he is going to come off the bench for years to come. And Markel is actually a really good player, but I just don't see him working out in Orlando. Um, but yeah, I'd say Suggs is a good storyline. Scotty Barnes is a player that I had a lot more expectation for, but he looks like buns getting clamped up by Edmund Sumner. You mentioned Evan Mobley. Let's talk about Evan Mobley real quick. What do you think? What do you think about Evan Mobley? Do you think that he needs to develop more of an offensive game now, or does he still have time?
Yeah, for sure. Still has time. It's just that rookie season set the bar so high, and it's like
Cool.
he's still doing pretty good, but it hasn't been much improvement. But it's still a second year. Like it's just because so many other players in their second year like you're seeing something different.
Right.
Is this Desmond Bane's second year? Right. This has to be. He was
I think
drafted
it's his
20. No,
third.
third year. Oh yeah, he was drafted 2020.
Yeah.
His second year was last year. Okay, because he would probably be MIP. It's
Oh,
his third
1,000.
year.
Look,
25,
I
5, and
had him
5.
as
Insane
my most
efficiency.
improved. If it wasn't for that injury, he would have 1,000% been my most improved player. But I mean, not really. You know who else I would say would be in most improved consideration if if the team wasn't so weirdly mediocre. Jalen Brunson would be another one that I would say because Jalen Brunson he's been playing really well, but
Yeah, honestly,
he's not a second year player. I'm trying to think of other second year players. Who's another second year player?
Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey's been
Eh,
decent.
he's playing all right.
It's tough because he'll go off when Shy doesn't, and then vice versa. But Shy's been the one he's been
He's
the
the
one
most
who's been
consistent.
really good.
Shea is 1,000% the
He's
most.
usually like the one who's like been going off. Like he's averaging like 30 points right now.
Would you say he's a first time All Star?
Yeah, he's gonna be a first time All Star. I think the biggest question we were talking about this before. He's for me a lock. He's a guarantee. Unless his stats drop off and he gets injured and then his team is just absolutely buns.
So
But I
are you
really
putting
think
you're putting
he's
Shea
gonna be
over
good.
sorry you're putting Shea over De'Aaron Fox?
Yep.
Man,
Unless team success really, but it's like I don't know. Does team success really matter when it comes to All Stars?
mm, I don't
Like
know.
if a player's absolutely like Shea has just been better than De'Aaron, like straight up. I'm sorry, but De'Aaron's team has been winning and it's been better
I
than
will say
De'Aaron's
Shea
rookie
has been
season
better than Ja.
for sure. I mean, Ja was injured. Ja isn't.
So
He's
is
been
Ja
injured. He's been
are
inconsistent.
Ja and De'Aaron on
Shea
par with
over
each
Ja
other? No. Ja and De'Aaron are they
this
on par?
season, but just not in general, but this season.
So this
Unless
season,
this
who would you
season
put?
becomes who Ja is, but I think Ja is just that guy.
Who
It's
would you
just he's been
put
having a
over
down
them?
year.
Like who would you
So
put
if we're talking about
in the roster?
guards, it's
Hmm.
gonna be Steph,
Obvious.
Luca,
Obvious.
and
Shea.
Shea will be like a flex. He'll be the third guard.
Well, remember, no,
Um,
remember when you start,
Devin
it's two
Booker.
guards. It's two guards. It's a
I'm just
set
saying
split.
like after two guards, then you have the rest of the starting lineup. Then they go into picking more guards off the bench, right?
Hmm.
He'll be one of them. There's two or three. If there's
So
two, it's gonna
basically, the
be
way it works
Devin
is
Booker and
they have
Shea.
two guards to start, two guards off the bench, and then the last three are flexes. So it could be a center, it could be a guard. Let's say it's five, right? Five guards. In the Western Conference, you have Steph, Luca, D Book, Ja. Is that last spot going to Shea? Absolutely, it is. I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, De'Aaron has been playing great, but it has
He's
to be
not
Shea.
Shea. He's not Shea.
Yeah. And then maybe if Morant is trash, then give it to De'Aaron. I don't know. But a King definitely deserves to be an All Star if this team keeps going the way that they're going. Keegan Murray, the rookie, has also been
Keegan
solid.
Murray's nice.
Yeah. I was a little skeptical when he was first drafted. Felt like him and Tyrese Haliburton really would have worked well together. And that was my point in the pre-draft thing, or in the aftermath of the draft, that podcast that we did with Joel a few months ago. When I mentioned that they drafted Keegan Murray, it was like another Tyrese. Yes, they played different positions at a different height, all that stuff. But my point was that Tyrese and Keegan Murray would have been with Tyrese and Ben Mathurin are right now, because Tyrese would be finding Keegan in ways that just makes the game easier for him, and it would have been nice. But whatever, the trade already happened. It is what it is. And looking into another side of things in the NBA, let's do a quick recap on the Pelicans this past weekend. So the Pelicans have played so freaking well. Zion Williamson is finally coming into his own. The rest of the team is looking solid. Herb Jones is, I believe he's hurt, but Troy Murphy has been lights out, playing really solid defense. This and Jose Alvarado, one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA. He's going to be here for a long time. I can't wait to see what happens with his career. Do you think that New Orleans is a legit threat in the Western Conference?
Mm,
Keep in mind all the teams that are in the Western Conference right now that were legit threats to begin the year that, up to this point haven't really seemed it. So, like the Warriors, if I'm being honest. So, who do you think? Do you think that New Orleans is a legit threat? Yes or no?
yeah, I think so. I think so. Let's look at who we got on the bottom. Lakers, I think I'm gonna throw my chips in there. I'm gonna stand by that take. Minnesota, disappointing.
Insane.
Utah will taper off. Sacramento. So right now the West is Phoenix at the 1, New Orleans Pelicans at 2, Denver at 3, Memphis 4, Sac 5, Golden State Warriors are 6th, Clippers are 7th, and Portland is in 8th. Then we have
Okay.
Utah and Dallas following them. So there's
Portland's
10
not
spots
making
right
it.
there.
Portland's not making it to the finals. I'm talking like legit threats that are making it. That
To
could
to
potentially
the
make it to the finals.
to the finals? No, then I don't think they're gonna make it to the finals. But I think they're a legit threat to make the playoffs and like to make some noise, maybe
No,
be a
we
second
no,
round
no, we
exit.
all know they're gonna make the playoffs, but I'm saying
We didn't. I mean, they were 500 for like a good minute, and then Zion came back. So,
like a
but then
week.
again, you say, oh, like Zion came back, but he's been so injury prone. The whole team is injury prone, and they
Yeah,
have
this
no
team 1000% goes as far as Zion takes them. Like as far like if
defense. So it's like they'd have to get lucky with injuries to make it to the finals, in my
yeah,
opinion.
like this team is predicated on Zion's success. If Zion, they'll go as far as Zion takes them 1000%. We know this. But the rest, they're the deepest team in the NBA. Like they have the third string guard in Devonte Graham getting like what? Not even he doesn't get any minutes, but when he does, he plays at a really, really like high caliber 6 man role because he's that type of player. And they have him there as security. Dyson Daniels, their rookie, another player that no one really talked about, but he was a Lakers draft pick, obviously traded, um, because of the Anthony Davis trade. He's been playing really well for that team off the bench. 6'8" point guard, amazing, and just overall the talent in that team. If Zion is healthy, this team is 1000% going to the conference finals. I don't see why not. Who
I think
who
that's a
else
hot
will be
take.
there? Who is it? Is it though?
Conference finals.
Who else is there?
You have options. You have Denver,
Nope.
Phoenix. You have Golden State because I do think they're gonna get their act together.
I
You
don't.
have the Clippers, who I'm
No.
still thinking they're gonna be decent.
Nope.
Right? I can't. The Clippers. If the thing is, we're talking about like if everybody was healthy, right? Because if we weren't, then it's like Pelicans. Y'all are gonna be banged up by the time that comes around. But let's say everybody's healthy. That means you got a healthy Kawhi and PG. You got a healthy John Wall. I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna make it to the Western Conference Finals if they're healthy. That's my opinion.
It's a horrible take. They have no big men off the bench.
Phoenix, you know.
Phoenix, come on. Phoenix, get the hell out of here with Phoenix. Phoenix is not good. No,
Yeah, but Western Conference Finals, bro.
they're not making it to the conference finals.
I think they can.
Look, mark it down right now. The Phoenix Suns are not making it to the conference finals. Mark it down right now. I said this. What day is it today? This Monday, December 5th, 2022. I'm saying it right now. The Phoenix Suns are not making the conference finals this season. And it's going to be New Orleans. Who is going to be that team up against them? Could it be Denver? Maybe. I can give it to Denver. Will it be the Clippers? Absolutely not. No, it's not because they're too injury prone. The other team would be the Warriors. I can see the Warriors coming back and making a trade, trading away Wiseman for like Crowder or something. I don't know. But I can see them, those three being my teams for the conference finals. And I still think New Orleans is going to be that team. Like it's going to be New Orleans against whoever else. And then, well, whoever else that is, they might beat New Orleans. But I will say
I
New
got
Orleans is
them
going to
out
the conference
either
finals.
6 or 7 games in the second round. I think again, if they get
Wait,
lucky with injuries, when I say that, I mean if other teams get injured, they can make it to the West
did,
Finals.
did
But
you
if
watch the
every team
playoffs
is
last
healthy,
season? Like when
they
when
were they were good. But remember, this was
without
Phoenix last
Zion.
year. This was Phoenix last year, and then we saw what Phoenix did against Dallas, which is why I mean now I'm like iffy about Phoenix making it, but I think this year's Phoenix team is going to be a little different. I don't know if they're going to make it to the finals again, but I think that they're going to look at what happened last year and like just try to do better and just make it to the Western Conference Finals. And it could be
Chris
Phoenix, New Orleans in the
Chris
Western
Paul
Conference
has
Finals,
Chris
and
Paul
then
has
if it's
digressed.
Phoenix, New Orleans, then I think anything goes. To be honest,
Chris Paul has digressed way too much. They're not going to the conference finals this season. Like they
Pelicans
have
is
no
bold
legit.
in the Western Conference Finals.
DeAndre Ayton plays soft 75% of his games. He has a couple games where he plays like he's the best center in the league, which I don't think he could be, but he definitely be top three. He is definitely better than Karl Anthony Towns. He's definitely better than Rudy Gobert. He's definitely better. He could be better than Allen. I would say right now Allen is better because Allen plays defense. DeAndre Ayton doesn't do anything. Right? There are times where he just stands there. He looks like an idiot. So no, I don't believe in that. And then Devin Booker, I I don't know. Devin Booker has the Kardashian curse, so I don't want to give him anything like that. And then everybody
Aiden's
else
been
is just
balling, bro. Aiden's been balling. Don't sleep on Aiden.
no.
He's been good
Okay,
recently.
Aiden has been doing solid, but he does. I'm saying he plays soft. Like when it's time for him to dominate, he doesn't truly dominate the way that he should. Like he doesn't get in there the way that most people would like in the paint. Like it's important for him to be more of a dominant player, but he looks off. I don't know. It's I don't believe in this Phoenix Suns team, but I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? I didn't expect them to do it a couple years back, so who knows? I can care less though because Phoenix is whatever. I still firmly believe that New Orleans is making it to the conference finals. Mark it down, Monday, December 5th, 2022. Phoenix is not making it to the conference finals. New Orleans did. New Orleans will. I mean,
Okay, all right. That's a
and
very bold take. You're putting all your chips in there. I can't do that
absolutely,
for any team, really. I'm not bold enough for that.
yeah.
Not that I'm afraid of being wrong. I just don't have confidence like you do in this team and any other team. Really, I
No,
can
I'm just doing it because
kind
I
of
want
say,
more views.
gotcha, gotcha.
No, I do believe
Sure,
it though.
that's
I do
fine.
believe that New Orleans definitely has a chance to make it to the conference final. Like, all right, barring all the stupid stuff that I say a lot of the times, I will say New Orleans definitely has one of the best, deepest teams the NBA has right now. Their bench is solid. Their starting lineup is solid. Jonas Valanciunas is a great complementary piece for Zion, and Zion is playing in a way that it, it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's Charles Barkley like, and that's why I believe in this team a lot. I really really do. I think Zion they'll go as far again, like as far as Zion will take them, but I think Zion can take them that far. He's that good. He's that John Morant last year. However, if it's not this season, because it is relatively early, like the Memphis Grizzlies were. If it's not this season, give them one more year under their belt. This upcoming season will definitely be New Orleans's West team. Like they'll be the team of the West. So who knows? A lot of stuff in the NBA, and it's great to watch. It's great to be a part of 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 the game in from our point of view because we just watch it and we love it. Um, but yeah, there's definitely a lot more to talk about. I just the Nets are obviously being they're solid team, but there's not really much else to discuss that really warrants anything specific. I will say though, this season has been great, and I cannot wait to see what happens on Christmas Day against with all these teams playing. Most of the good teams are playing, I would say. But still, there's a lot of parity in the NBA, Sandra. We haven't seen this in a while, so it's exciting.
Not like this.
Yeah, this is insane. This is literally reminds me of like 2006 when I didn't even watch basketball. So it's crazy.
So it doesn't remind you of that at all, then.
It's crazy. It's fun. But with all that being said, guys, please like, subscribe, and hit the like button down below. Shout us out to all your friends, families, cats, dogs, brothers, and sisters. Isandro will be back soon, and